And so,
my apologies.
and it's like, and my screen is bigger than yours. My box is bigger than yours. No matter how I say it, it sounds wrong.
How is it that your box is bigger than mine? Why can't you just fix it?
I can.
You can.
I can't. It's just, it was born that way.
That's okay. I'll sit
made
over
that
here
way.
being diminutive.
Good use of diminutive. Diminutive.
Diminutive. See, you're usually the one that has the $7 words. Today's $7 word of the Bill and Jason show is diminutive, which is strange that it's such a big word for such a small concept. Thank you. Good night, everybody. I'll be here all week.
You
Try the veal.
have prepared.
How did you know?
This I know because I could tell. I should have just used your left and right. All right. And this, thanks for attending this week's How to Adjust the Framing in Wirecast. Tune in next week when Bill Hermann says,
"Why is my box so small?"
That was brilliant. We should use that. That was a setup, deliver. This is how you work with a partner and do a joke. You set them up, they seize the moment, and then you move on.
The moment has been seized.
And don't dwell on it like, oh, you know why that was funny?
Oh, yeah, because I set you up. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah. Well, you set me up. No, I set you up.
Yeah, you really did. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. May I do that?
How are you today?
Forever.
How was your Father's Day?
Oh, my Father's Day.
It was difficult, wasn't it?
No, actually, it really wasn't. It was ironic in a way. It depends on what your expectation of Father's Day is. You spent the morning doing laundry, cleaning the house. Being a father.
Right. Well, and hey, doesn't surprise me. I even saw an article that day, which once again it just feeds into the fact that we don't get nothing. On Mother's Day, they showed the millions and millions and billions of dollars that are spent on the honoring of moms. Mm-hmm. And then right next to it, they showed the thousands of dollars that are spent on honoring your dad.
Well, that's because men are much more like dogs. They're just like, give me something good to lap and give me something, good to eat. Give me a treat once in a while, and I'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like that's really that.
And if you keep feeding into that's what it is, then that's exactly what we're going to get.
Yeah, that's true. We should really be more demanding.
I'm the one that every year when they say, "What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Father's Day?" A hot tub.
And why am I making it so easy? It just occurred to me. I said, you know what would be really great is this quart of my favorite ice cream. I said, that's what I would like for Father's Day. Uh-huh. That's not what I would like. A bottle of really expensive scotch. That's what I would really like for my Father's Day. But I really came to the conclusion that every day is Father's Day. But it is nice to have one day out of the year.
Wait a minute. How did you come to the conclusion that every day is Father's Day?
Well, because now I really am obligated to be a father every day.
Yeah, well, but Father's Day is supposed to be about honoring men who've stepped into that role, just like it's supposed to be honoring women that have stepped into the role of motherhood. You know what I'm saying? You're honoring your mother, you honor your father. We don't what do we say? We just want to spend time with our kids, which is nice, but honestly, we end up doing the laundry, cleaning up stuff, taking them places to listen to them yell at you. Well, that's what I did all day. My kids were angry with me most of the day. Happy Father's Day.
But maybe this will help. I realize that what Father's Day really is the one day out of the year that your wife makes the children thank you for everything that you've done. And will continue to do the next year.
Wait.
Whether they thank you or not.
I was supposed to get a thank you?
Yeah. Thanks, Dad, for doing all that stuff.
Yeah. My kid gave me my Father's Day card the next day. In fact, here I brought it along. Can you see this?
This is great. Well, which makes it even more special that it came the next day because you get all your other Father's Day gifts on Father's Day. Right. This was like, a bonus.
I got a beer koozie. It says
Beer Me.
Can you see it in the screen?
Yes.
Beer Me. Now, this is the best part. Okay, this is high tech beer cozy. Let me see. I'll show you how that works. Ready?
Oh, I know this song.
And I was obligated to say, "Oh, honey, I love that song."
I've not heard that nearly enough.
Oh, don't worry, be happy. That's my favorite song. Because I want to be happy and because I didn't hear that song enough when it came out. And now it's attached to greeting cards.
You're right, and a koozie.
And a koozie, yeah. So, because if I have enough of those beers, I'm going to go, you know something, honey, I don't mind telling you, I hate that song. It was the dumbest thing.
So the underlying message of this is drink enough beer, Dad, and you'll always be happy. No matter what kind of a little turd I am. You know, I think that's a pretty honest gift.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
I love what you found and brought for the for the show. The ultimate Father's Day gift, which I think every dad should have.
Yeah, we did. You should play the commercial for it because it's awesome.
Okay. Well, we'll just share with everybody. So this can be like the belated Father's Day gift as well.
Well, this could be for any father who wants more time with their children.
You want to be closer to your kids,
right?
By combining a mini wireless router, open source software, a host access point, and a stylish fashion accessory, we created a way for children to be closer to their dad this Father's Day.
Yes, we have.
TieFi.
Oh my gosh.
TieFi is a low-strength wearable Wi-Fi hotspot that can only be accessed by users within a radius of 10 feet of its wearer. TieFi works by capturing your home's Wi-Fi signal and rerouting it through a small transmitter built into the tie.
Look at this.
This
Look at how the
reduces
children
the
flock
strength
to
and
you.
range of the signal to just over 10 feet.
Oh my gosh. The greatest thing ever.
It's the classic Father's Day gift, reimagined for the 21st century and perfect for every dad. Spend more time together.
Look at that. Now they
and
can
connect
ignore
with
you
Dad
while in the same
with
room with
TieFi.
you.
Yep.
TieFi. Find out more at tiefi.ca.
With this particular product, I think you might have missed the point.
I love the ending on that. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. That's awesome.
I know. Isn't that the greatest thing you ever saw in your life?
It is. It's like I want one now just to. I want one just because. I want one.
And I should tell people that I found this on a really cool website. Oh, it's a Reddit site. It's called nottheonion.com.
Oh yeah, did you figure out what the deal is with Not the Onion? Is
Not
that
the
actually
Onion.
part of the Onion? Because
No,
they actually have the Onion logo in there.
No, not the Onion. The Onion, as we all know, the Onion is a parody site for parody news. Okay, and they do a really good job. It's very funny.
Well, we don't
started
all
as a
know
newspaper.
that.
Okay, well, it started out as a newspaper, and now it's a website called The Onion. To parody news organization. Well, you can usually tell an Onion story by the way the article starts, but this one is not the Onion because these headlines look like they should be Onion headlines. So you go to nottheonion.com and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just, you spend hours.
But
and
it's
I found
true?
this right there.
But
All
they're
these
real?
stories are true. They're all completely true.
Like Stranger
the Onion
Than
or
Science.
not.
Did I ever tell you how I discovered the Onion?
No.
It was when I was doing my morning show in Duluth, and I found the Onion, and I was pulling these stories. And I'm like, oh my god! I remember one CIA greeting cards was one. A story about like the CIA is now putting out greeting cards, and I'm like, this can't be real. I kept saying, I'm like, but I found it on this news site called the Onion. But this is so absurd. I was just like, and then like,
And finally somebody called you up and said, have you been living under a rock?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Fortunately, I disclaimed it every time by going, I can't believe this is real. And sure enough, it actually wasn't.
Right, exactly. So anyway, you got to check this out. It's very, very funny. I wanted to talk about something I saw on Facebook, and a lot of the DJ conversations that we see start out on Facebook. And this one started out with, and I've seen this conversation before. This is a specific conversation from a specific person, but I've seen this conversation a lot. So I'm just gonna kind of read what the person started out with, and we can discuss it ourselves. But he said he went to a wedding recently. The DJ was there in tuxedo. He was playing great music, and the crowd was responding really well, and the sound was really good, and he was kind of impressed. So he's watching this DJ do his thing, and then he decided to go up and go and take a peek around the corner, like, looking behind the curtain at the Wizard of Oz, and saw this young man with a mixer no bigger than his hand, and he had an iPod and his phone.
Wow.
So he wanted to know in this conversation that a lot of people chimed in on, and people are still chiming in on, is what do you think of that? What do you think of that?
You mean that he was using the using an iPod?
He was using an iPod and a phone, where his music collection on his phone as an iPod as well, and a mixer, and that's it. But he was dressed in a tuxedo. Everyone was responding really well to the music. They were dancing, and the sound was good. But when we looked behind the curtain, this is what he saw. Now, I'll tell you, over 130 different people chimed in, and more than 3/4 of them went, awful. He's ruining everything for all of us. He should be drummed out. He should be laughed out of the room. He's not a DJ. He's a horrible human being for doing this. He's ruining things for us. He's shame on him. Terrible, horrible. I mean, I could go back. I'm not going to read 100, but most of these things was the comments. What do you think?
Well, that's the I say age old, because I think the age old conversation is probably 20 years old maybe. Yeah. It's like, is what we do gear, or is what we do the talent we bring? Mm-hmm. I'm in the camp, and you'll probably preach to the choir. I'll find out if not, but it's like I'm of the camp that if you're there to create a result, you're there to create an atmosphere, you're there to create a good time, you're there to play great music, and do it seamlessly, and like everything he was describing, he looked great, everything looked great, to the audience, everything was fabulous. So I don't care if he was doing it on his wristwatch. In fact, if he has those tiny components, I'm even more impressed that he's not got a laptop with a whole library and all that he's making it work with that little bit of stuff, because that's less stuff to haul in.
Right.
It says my 45-year-old butt that doesn't want to carry in any more heavy stuff than I have to, that he just has to bring that in and do that and still be able to produce the same result, which is creating a really great time. The technology is going to change. I mean, we'll probably be transmitting from our brains in 10 years and won't even be having the big mixer things, you know? The technology doesn't matter. What matters is having the skill and knowing what to play and when to play it, and how to put it together, and how to engage in an audience, and really creating something appropriate.
No, and what you're talking about, I think I would tend to agree, but doesn't the conversation also change when you define what DJ is? You know what I'm saying? If we define what a disc jockey is, or are there several levels of DJ, or different definitions, better yet? Are there different definitions of DJ regarding what you do and where you do it and how you do it? Or is DJ a finite definition? Is it DJ, disc jockey? Well, I mean, I'm serious now. It has the definition, which used to be turntables, discs, okay?
And a microphone.
And you're jockeying this. Well, not even a microphone. When it first started out, it was just disc jockey.
You know the song, two turntables and a microphone.
Yeah, okay, Beck, so you're really awesome. But what I want to know here is, has the definition changed? Or does this conversation now become, what are we talking about? What kind of DJ? So then I can be specific about how I feel about it. Because if the definition of disc jockey is that you're learning the craft of jockeying, manipulating discs, then what he was doing was really not DJ.
When nobody's manipulating discs anymore.
Well, that's not true. Not true at all. There are people that do that. There are people that do that at parties, but mostly they're doing it at clubs.
Do you know what they call themselves?
Turntablists.
Yes.
But see, that's because the definition is the definition changed, or have they grabbed a new definition because they don't like how disc jockey has been turned? You know what I mean? Is this conversation about the definition of what we do, and then we can judge it? Or has it really changed, period? It matters not the tool whatsoever, because when it started, it was the tools that they were describing the tools. Disc jockey was the tools. Mm-hmm. Now, I agree with you. You bring talent into a situation, into a wedding, and if I'm carrying a boombox and putting a microphone up to the speaker, I can do a really good job, because I know how to manipulate a crowd. Sound or not sound, great gear or not gear, I can do a really good job. So the tools shouldn't matter, depending on what our outcome is. But if you're getting paid to be a disc jockey, and they're excited about seeing someone manipulate discs, so now are you cheating them by hiding the fact that you didn't bring any discs, and you're using MP3s off of iPods that are usually only used for listening, not for playing in a public situation? So I can see both sides, especially if you're a purist around the definition. So it's that, I think that's what the age-old conversation becomes, is what are we really arguing about? I'm better than you, or we don't agree on the definition of disc jockey.
Well, which conversation do you want to have? I mean, like those are two distinct conversations. I mean, there's one is like a disc jockey creates, well, and that's by my definition, creates a certain outcome. Is like, if my plumber comes with an electrical apparatus that is all tools in one, the Swiss Army plumber tool, and does it all and doesn't use a traditional pipe wrench, is he not a real plumber? It's the same kind of thing. Like what are the tools and the tools change kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, there is a bunch of definitions of what disc jockey is.
Right.
And there's like that it's not really been this part of the Wild Wild West thing,
Right.
That DJs and the industry is still in the Wild Wild West because of, I think, a failure. And I don't mean a failure as in like a bad thing, but I mean, well, failure isn't the word. The missing is that everyone's trying to say what I do is the definition of a DJ rather than really come up with the new definitions. Like what you create and provide for like your clients and what you teach in the entertainment experience. You provide, part of that is providing music and DJing. It doesn't have to be.
Right.
So like what gets created in the entertainment experience for clients isn't really a disc jockey service.
Right.
In terms of like really being clear with customers and consumers, And what somebody does in a nightclub isn't really what somebody's going to do at a wedding.
Not
even
necessarily,
though
but
there's similarities.
It could be.
There's overlap, just like there's overlap in what you do. All these things overlap with like concentric circles. You like that?
Yeah, I
it's
do.
like it's all overlapping.
Right.
But in order for the consumer world to go, ooh, I want that, or that's distinct, or that has X value, or whatever, requires creating multiple definitions, splintering off the disc jockey world into all kinds of different titles and definitions and that sort of thing.
Right.
Which is really up to those who like command a niche to define it, create it, and then kind of make it so.
Right. And we are speaking, especially in private events or even public events, what we're really delivering is not a disc jockey. We're delivering what the client wants out of the disc jockey. You don't want the drill, you want the hole. So you want a certain thing from the DJ. How he brings it to you now matters not, unless of course you're saying, oh, and by the way, this guy comes with albums and Technique 1200s and a Rain mixer, and he does an old school thing that you can watch and you can see. Otherwise, they're not really talking about the tools. They're talking about you're going to have a great party. So now, with looking at the definition and saying, well, I'm not a great DJ, or you're not a DJ at all if you're using horrible tools, then I wasn't a DJ for a very long time until I had the tools. When I had only one turntable and a stack of records, and I did my first party, I wasn't a disc jockey.
You were a turntablist.
I was a turntablist, right? Wait, singular. But I mean, I was in there, and the result was that everybody had a fun time. Now, could someone have done a better job with two turntables? Yeah,
and a microphone.
And a microphone.
No, actually, you had the microphone.
You go back and
now you can coin turntabler.
Turntabler.
Bill Hermann, add that to the history of the DJ. I was the first turntabler. I did it with one
and a spindle, because I had to put it on and then push the button. It would go,
right. And then vamping.
Play, yeah, and I'd vamp until. But it is. I mean, that could have been a Craigslist disc jockey. That could have been a friend of the family. That could have been grandma. But as long as they're getting the result, and the result being that everybody has a fun time, we're good to go. So. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it.
I see what you're laying down.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? What makes a disc jockey? Do you think that the industry needs to be really splintered off into all kinds of different definitions, or do we need to like zero in and measure it? How do we define it? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that.
That would be great. And
let's talk about that
turntabling.
Let's talk about disc jockey.
And thanks for coming to the Bill and Jason Show. We'll see you next week.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.